I think the FT had it right a month or so ago when they said there are only 3 possible outcomes from Brexit now. Total humiliation for the UK, abject humiliation for the UK, or just a plain humiliation for the UK. So the SNP were basically right about Brexit. But as we found out to our cost in the election, just being right doesn't necessarily make for popularity. Nor does it absolve us of a responsibility to attempt to create some order out of this chaos. And we must realise that we too, despite our views, despite our opposition to this Brexit nonsense, are now caught in a Brexit trap. So what is absolutely necessary for us to secure from Europe? In fact, there's only one thing that's essential. There are many things which are nice to have, but only one thing which is essential, at least in economic terms, and that is the comparative economic advantage that comes from being part of the world's largest single market, with the many international connections that that membership guarantees. Along with it, indeed integral to it, comes the economic advantage of free movement of people as well as goods and capital, something which is absolutely necessary for the future prosperity and health of this nation. Now, we can get that from the European Union, but we can also get it from membership of the European Free Trade Area, EFTA, which also allows access to the European Economic Area and which can be secured for an independent Scotland quickly and effectively. Now, the 4 EFTA states are all small. In the case of Liechtenstein, tiny. It's about the size of the wee county of Clackmannanshire. However, in common with Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, this minnow shares the distinction of being in the World Bank top 12 of wealth per head. In other words, the EFTA countries may be small, but if this was football, they're as successful as Barcelona. And because of that, this should be the proposition we take to the people. In a political sea of uncertainty, we would have the advantage of putting forward a defined proposition. An independent Scotland is a member of EFTA with all the economic advantages that this confers. EFTA membership can, if Scotland so wishes, be a prelude to full European Union membership in the future, in the fullness of time. What makes a nation prosperous? Well, there are many factors, of course, but only 2 that really matter. You may remember Paul Krugman's famous quote that productivity is not all that matters, but in the long run, it's nearly all that matters. So productivity is one of them, and the other is access to markets and trade. Scottish productivity growth has comfortably outpaced the UK for some years now. It's one of the reasons why the BBC's phantom Scottish recession did not materialise over this summer, and instead showed Scottish growth in the first quarter of 2017 at 4 times the UK rate. For the first time for over a century, we've seen Scottish average unemployment lower than the UK average over the last 10 years. Not in one set of statistics or 2 sets of statistics or 1 month or 1 year, but for 10 years, the average Scottish unemployment rate has been lower than the UK average. And the Scottish employment rate has been higher than the UK average over these 10 years. That has not happened since recorded statistics began. And therefore, that has happened despite a world recession and the loss of 100,000 jobs in our greatest single industry in the North Sea. Independence in itself does not guarantee prosperity. It's the wisdom of the policies you then pursue which does that. However, an independent Scotland as a member of EFTA does guarantee we will not be made relatively poorer by full English Brexit. When this matter comes to the touch, once again, as it will over the next 3 or 4 years, then this organisation's role is going to be fundamentally important. Having a policy which can be practically delivered in a reasonable timescale is going to be fundamentally important. But to recognise that we are correct and right in our thinking of Scotland's position and the need to defend us, and that position as a European nation will stand us in good stead and deliver the independence which will be open the possibilities of success and vitality for this country. Thank you very much indeed.